Hello and welcome to another Projectx Supercar video showroom tour, and today we are at Specialist Cars of Malton in Malton. Now there are quite a few cars that I did not expect to be here. It only just adds to the excitement, and the reason we have come here today is because of this. Now I don't know how you feel about these, but in my opinion, they are the most hottest, or if not the most hottest investment supercars on the market today. Now I have been watching these on the used car market now for a while, and over the past 5 years they have increased dramatically in value, and they still have room to grow. I just wish that Porsche would relaunch these cars, because most of the styling on their cars today are based on the classics. But I think it is about time they relaunched a new 928 or a new 944. Now the bodywork and styling of these cars were a step in the opposite direction and did cause some slight controversy at the time. Some people liked them and some people hated them. Although being very young at the time, I liked them. And the 928 was one of the earliest production cars to feature aluminium in its construction, followed by galvanized steel for the floor. This obviously made it resilient to rust and featured a massive weight reduction. In 1986, the 928 was taken to the Bonneville Salt Flats, where it achieved a top speed of 171 miles per hour, which made this the fastest production car in the world. So does this look like a toy? As cool as it may appear, it is actually one of the most rarest 911s in the world. Produced in the 1980s, the Porsche 911 Junior was sold throughout Porsche's dealers with a total number of only 200, making it one of the rarest 911s of today. Rarer than the Porsche 997 Sports Classic, the 997 Speedster, and the 993 Turbo S. And it's powered by a combustion engine, a one-cylinder Honda, and a 2-speed transmission that is operated by a clutch and a pedal, giving the kids an early entry into the driving world. Now these do not come up for sale very often, and this being a white one makes it even rarer, as most of them were actually in red. Wouldn't this be great to have one as a child now? Although due to its combustion engine, it probably wouldn't be allowed. Hello dog. Good dog, good dog. So now this brings us to the Porsche 944, and I'll say it again, this is a car that is increasing in value right now. If you want one of these and you can find one in this condition, then go and get it, treat yourself and enjoy it. They may not be supercar fast, but they have classic investment car status. Now with this having an inline-4 engine, I think it will be a perfect opportunity for Porsche to relaunch this car. As in the next 911s, so I've heard that the flat 6 engine is coming back and replacing the inline-4. Wouldn't it be great if they relaunched this car with the current inline-4 turbo engine? To relaunch this car, I don't think it even needs much of a facelift, or if any at all. I think it's a great looking car. It's got wide arches, aggressive stance, and what every supercar needs are flip up headlights. This place is practically classic Porsche heaven. And here we have a Porsche 901. 901 or 911. Now this is actually a 1973 Porsche 911E, coloured in royal purple. Now the reason I said Porsche 901 is that Porsche originally designed as a Porsche 901 being its internal project number. And a total number of 82 cars were built with the badge 901. However, French automobile manufacturer Peugeot protested on the grounds that in France it had exclusive rights to car names formed by 3 numbers, with a 0 in the middle. So instead of selling a new model with a different name in France, Porsche changed the name to 911. Now this Ford Mustang is very intense. This 2007 supercharged 450 horsepower GT has all the attitude that you would ever want from a muscle car. This is heavily modified. Carbon fibre bonnet, carbon fibre in the interior, carbon fibre front adjustable splitter, and then of course the supercharger. This is the shiniest, blackest black paint I've ever seen. It looks like a very expensive paint job. Now if you were to buy a standard 5 litre Mustang GT, it would probably not have a prayer against the Cayman S, as it is only 300 horsepower. the Cayman S would destroy it and eat it alive, but this one would eat everything in its path. I don't really know about the appreciative value for these cars, but I do know they're not going down in price. And this one is a hell of a lot of car for the money. And not only that, I think these Mustangs are the most customizable cars on the market today. The aftermarket parts options are enormous, so you can really personalise your own car. I love the interior. It does not feel like it's covered in plastic. It's been finished quite nicely. Could just do with a skull placing on the gear shifter. And just sitting in it, it feels solid. I don't think you truly appreciate them through a photograph. This should be not kept in a garage, but in a cage. Let's hear it fire up. It feels like thunder. You can actually feel the pressure in your chest. You know what? I just can't smell any fumes from the engine. That's surprising to say it's a 5 litre and we're running it indoors and it's on a cold start as well. So out of all that aggression and grunt and muscle comes style and beauty and elegance in the form of a Mercedes-Benz SL 500. SL meaning super light. Now I am sorry if you disagree, but in my opinion this is one of the most beautiful cars ever made, and it is everything you would imagine a Mercedes-Benz to look like. Now, the 500 SL was never available in the USA. Instead, they had the least powerful 450 SL. But ironically, later they inherited the 560 SL, meaning a 5.6 litre engine, which was more powerful, but banned in the UK. Now the performance of this car was quite impressive at the time, with a 0 to 60 of only 7 seconds and a top speed of 140 miles per hour. So it wasn't just an elegant Monaco runaround owned by a pipe-smoking Rupert with Daphne by his side. It actually had a heck of a lot of guts and muscle and horsepower for a car of its time. So beneath all this artistic elegance and beauty, it was a car you just did not mess with. In 1979, this series of Mercedes-Benz actually went on to win the Bandamar Rally in Africa, and the 450 SLC ultimately won the World Rally Crown in 1983. So if 450 horsepower is not enough, then you're welcome to try 750 out of this 8 litre V10 Dodge Viper. Now this is a 2002 model. I believe this is the last in the second generation of Dodge Vipers, and it is absolutely enormous. And these cars just look like they want to kill everything. They are a real American statement, and it looks like America's equivalent to the Jaguar E-Type, an E-Type that's been on steroids. Now if I was going to drive one of these cars, I would be so scared to sneeze. Just in case if I did, then I would suddenly wake up in a hospital bed with people standing around me saying, the car has gone through a shop window.
Into the last corner of the British Grand Prix. The checkered flag is ready. He exits the last Grand Prix to win his 38th Grand Prix.
Okay, now I did not ever expect to be stood by one of these cars so closely, and I did not expect one to be here. This is a surprise. Now this is an F1 car, an actual F1 car from the glory days of F1, or my glory days of F1, as I used to remember it. The Nigel Mansell days. I never imagined that I'd be standing so close to one of these cars. At one point, I would have most likely sat there and watched this actual car go around the track, never realising that one day I'll be stood right beside it. These cars did not get a good reputation in its day as a race car, but regardless they did the job. And it represents a lot of exciting happy memories when racing was really alive. From the 80s right up to the mid 90s, I was hooked on Formula 1, as now I feel it is more robotised than racing, but it is for a reason. As 30 years ago or more, Formula 1 seemed more like World War II air combat dogfighting than a race, where the drivers would rather spray each other with knuckles than champagne after the race.
Noses ahead of Ayrton Senna as they go into Copse. In third position it's Nigel Mansell. In fourth position it is Gerhard Berger. Round the right-hander at Copse. Now on towards Maggots, the sweeping left-hander, and then to Beckett's.
Road, because the aerodynamics of these racing cars is tremendously dependent on running it as close as possible.
Only 3.
But out of all this bare-knuckle dogfight style racing came at their cost. Over those years, we have lost many legendary drivers, and this becomes too much. And some people may feel that the FIA are drowning the sport, but at some point, their safety should not come at the cost of entertainment.
And our boy wins it. So
It's Gerhard Berger. It looks as though the Ferraris have got a problem after all, because this is only...
Now all motor racing is dangerous whatever the cost. And some people will say you're safer in a car than a bike. But on a racetrack, you may be lucky to slide to a stop on a bike. But in an F1 car, you're strapped into a coffin. But nevertheless, there are some great memories with Formula 1, and this very car is a survivor of that era, and it certainly tells a story. It may not be a championship winning racer, but it certainly does have a tale to tell. So out of all those cars in there, you want a tractor? I don't know about you, but I'm ready for some fish and chips.